Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan, and today, as you can see, I'm still continuing my Disney movie marathon before I take a short little break of it, I guess you'd say. Where you're going to be seeing me talking about the movies, obviously, their merchandising, theme parks, I don't know, whatever the case may be. So, there's going to be another video where I'll be discussing some idea that I brought up, ages ago. Provide the links below to give more context, I guess. But it's basically centered around the idea that Princess Anna is going to have some sort of galactic adventure kind of a thing, of course. Yeah, mixing Star Wars into this, which yes, I know this sounds crazy in itself. The whole concept here sounds really stretching it. Which yes, okay, I'm fully aware of this, but yeah, just something I was thinking about. Yeah, she was even wearing this outfit, Princess Leia's slave outfit uniform at some point. But like I said, I'll provide some links down below. But anyway, basically the idea is that it's taking place in an alternate universe, kind of like what DC had done with their characters. Basically, alternate timelines, alternate stories, but starring the same characters. But same kind of logic here, I guess you would say. It may not be canon to some other stuff as well, but still. So again, Disney kind of did this with a book called Conceal Don't Feel, which takes place in an alternate timeline of the first film, I guess you would say. It's not canon, it's just more of a hypothetical what if situation kind of thing. So, yeah, just trying to give you an idea, even if what I'm saying still seems like a bit of a stretch, what I'm saying, folks. So, think of this like a running exercise. So, basically, having that kind of thing in mind, it's in an alternate timeline, but it just takes place with the same characters. One of which, it would be a returning character, which I mentioned before. Yeah, this dude. And he was mentioned in the other videos as well, so he's gonna be coming back. So think of it like a continuous story of what I'm saying. And I guess it has something to do with reparations. That's something that needs to be paid back. And he basically turned like his place. Let's just say he has a kingdom, all right? Like he's friends with the king or something, and turned in his kingdom into like a communist one, I guess you can say. Which yes, we'll play a part later on in the story. But in the grand scheme of things, let's say basically what I'm trying to say is that you know how like in Star Wars: The Force Awakens, the Forced Order is trying to do a thing. You see this kind of same situation here with the other Imperials, and pretty much since the new Republic, so to speak, has been established. So Princess Anna and her sister is trying to premise hightail out this sort of planet, I guess, and return back to Earth. I guess to be more specific here is that yeah, I'm not trying to drain too much in details here, but I just want to give you a decent idea here. Is that you see, like the footage you're looking at here is technically, I guess you can say, it's on a spaceship. Just imagine on over here, it's trying to just, like I said, height it out of here within the spaceship. But of course, there's gonna be complications. But yeah, the bad people, I guess you can say, it's trying to kick them out or whatever, and just think. But of course, it's like a battle. It's like a little tug of war kind of thing. I want to leave, but you're trying to kick me out or whatever. But I'm gonna take you out. You're gonna fight me. I'm gonna fight you. And what kind of thing? Of course, there's gonna be a bit of a resistance here. So that's basically what I'm trying to leave off. I could just continue from that point. And again, I'm trying to give you a bit of context as I'm doing here. And again, to be more clear here, is that the ship that you see, the characters are supposed to be for the main characters and the good people, I guess you say, the good guy side, so to speak. As you know, as corny as that may seem, but I just want to give you an idea here, of course. But obviously, it's not gonna be super easy. Well, it's just supposed to be some action sci-fi thing. Of course, it's not gonna be easy. It's trying to give you some sort of idea of what's going on. I guess action. Make sure that there's a reason for the action to occur. So again, make sure that there's an actual reason for the fighting to. Of course, give context for the battle sequences, not just have it be some mindless brawler. Of course, like Michael Bay would do with the Transformers movies. Of course, yes, we're gonna have some down moments where they get to be themselves and whatnot, and honor would be cheerful or whatever. But for a good chunk of it, you're gonna still have the action, obviously, because why not? That's one of the reasons why as to why we're here. And yeah, there's gonna be another returning character, of course. But the thing is that for a good chunk of the time, yeah, she's gonna be silent pretty much. She's keeping her distant from pretty much everyone else while they're doing their thing. Yeah, but even if she does join in the fight, like here and there, she's gonna keep herself distant, at least to some extent, I guess you can say. And it involves this guy in one of the previous parts. This individual ended up dying, so yeah, this is gonna make her quite mad, obviously. And again, to give you more idea of what's happening with that, just look at one of the previous videos, which again, like I just said, I'll provide the context. I mean, yeah, the links down below in the description box to give more of a context, I guess. And even though it was nobody's fault, really. Basically, is what I'm getting at. No, it was no one's fault. Maybe you could think otherwise for some reason, which I guess I would get into later, I suppose. But bottom line here, I guess her little story bit is that she's showing some resentment in some ways, of course. Gotta make the story interesting somehow. Also, I would like to insert Air Force as well because, in the grand scheme of the story, yeah, there's like a character who'll be in here. He'll play an important role later, and yeah, I'll say what it is specifically later on, but it would have something to do with this guy to finally finish off this subplot, I guess. And for Hans, he will be absent in this scenario because this is to prevent the story itself from being needlessly complicated, I guess you can say. But anyway, that's not to say that it's going to ignore the events of the movie, like, at all. Yeah, it's going to still line up with what had occurred in the first one. It's not ignoring it, even though it's not going to be canon to anything really, but still. And also, there's going to be some casualties that's going to be dying off because this is an action movie kind of thing. And not that on top of that, just to make it more exciting, I guess, the good guys, the heroes, I mean, excuse me, heroines, in the story are also going to get pushed back a bit. And, yeah, like I was saying earlier, this is supposed to take place in some grand ship of theirs, but yeah, it's kind of like a hostile takeoff on the bad guys, I guess. Which, of course, was the idea to begin with. So, yeah, there's going to be a bit of stress on their part because they're not supposed to be here, obviously. So, something needs to be done about this, of course. So, yeah, it just like that hectic mess, this chaos that has been done here. So, there you go. That's when it comes to this part, anyway. Of course, this individual, he's not going to be on the ship itself, to be perfectly clear here. He'll be on Earth receiving, I guess, messages about what's going on, some reports, of course. Yes, of course. At first, yeah, he didn't know what was going on, but it was like later on, after the fact of what happened, occurred in the other, I guess, situations I brought up in the previous videos. Which again, I will link below in the subscription box if anyone, I guess, cares enough to look. I guess, but just so you know, in the context of this video, the events of the second movie never occurred, like at all, which means they never really found out the truth about the parents. At least not in that specific kind of way, anyway. But of course, meanwhile, like to give him more idea what's going on here is that, of course, this individual he acts like he's some sort of dictator when he in his own country, I guess, because as I mentioned earlier, he turned into a communist there, and he finally had the chance to. So yeah, he wants to act like he's the hot shot. He wants the military be on his side and whatnot. Again, even if this sounds over the top, this is just my version of events for this specific story. Just bury me here, folks. But anyway, point being is that, yeah, of course, there's a like whole bit you had to go through. You can't just get up on the rankings just like that. But of course, there's a whole process, obviously. But anyway, Princess Anna and Queen Elsa will of course be in the spaceship fighting, of course, elsewhere. That's the attempt to, like I was saying, excuse me, if I'm repeating a bit of the information, then they just want to get home as best they could, obviously. So they don't know if they're gonna make it out live and whatnot because hey, we have to make this suspenseful somehow, right? So there you go. So maybe at first they're gonna be fighting together, but they're gonna have to spread apart, separate during the battle because let's make it separated. It doesn't make it much suspenseful, I guess. Divide and conquer, I guess you can say. But anyway, we're gonna have one of them. Either sisters state that if they want to take every inch of the ship, they're gonna have to fight for it. And yeah, make it sure, okay, protect as they might, as it would say. And maybe come to think of it, we're gonna have Princess Anna say that since like she's like the feisty type, the one who's really determined, I guess. She seems like the type that would say something like that, I guess you can say. So there you go, I suppose. But again, think of this like a writing exercise to some extent, I suppose. But there you have it, I guess. Of course, Aerosol can be using her icy powers while using, I guess, those laser weapons, I suppose. And yes, like we were saying earlier, Air Force was still playing a part of this and whatnot. He still would play a role in this, even if it's not maybe not immediate, but it would play a role in the story down the line. So putting that out there because I'm not saying he's been forgotten here. He's just, I guess, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, I guess, and whatnot. Because he's like a little too chaotic. You do have to plan out some sort of strategy, I guess. So there's that. And that's the thing, there's Duke of Weaseltown, of course, you can say. He's could be suspicious of Air Force to some extent because he knows he's up to something. And literally, he's not grounded just yet, but he has his suspicions he will do something. So he would want to do like a preemptive strike somehow, I guess you can say. And of course, he was already suspicious of Alice's powers, of course, so like he did in the first film. And again, here, just like he intended to do in the first film, he will, of course, plan to exploit the kingdom's riches somehow. So, yeah, to use the fear of magic as a way to, I guess, some sort of plan to get her killed, I guess you can say. He's already aware of the fact that she's busy at the moment and will try to attempt to have her get killed off somehow, in some way, of course, because he felt he failed his mission the last time, so he's trying to regain his confidence somehow by killing her off, even though she's already doing a thing somewhere else. You do have to understand the fact that for any of this to work, there has to be something at stake here. Like, okay, what's at risk exactly? You can't just have an action scene, movie, or whatever, and just have it just be a bunch of explosions and whatnot. Yeah, what is this? Transformers? Come on. So, of course, before the story itself can proceed, obviously, you can say that the opponents are putting up resistance towards them. I was saying earlier. Though, again, like I said earlier, their plan is to go back to Earth, but I guess their enemies aren't allowing them to actually leave. Their enemies just want them to stay put, of course, as much as possible anyway. So yeah, though honestly, it'd be much easier for the villains to let them leave and just be done with this. But the thing is that the villains, let's say, they want revenge from the previous videos I just did, of course, which again, I'll post a link down below for a bit more context if anyone's interested. But anyway, it's in a way to boost morale, I guess you can say, in a sense. So yeah, have the heroes die off. Okay, to give you more of an idea of what I'm talking about here, of what I'm referring to. We all know that Queen Elsa and Princess Anna are supposed to be high up there when it comes to the government, the royalty, pretty much. If anything, it's kind of like bragging rights, I guess, in some ways, I guess you can say. So they can just be thinking about, hey, look who I killed off. Yay, whoo. Be cheering themselves on and be ranked as an actual threat, I guess, to anybody else who wants to mess with them, I guess. And just show that they are no pushovers, like, at all. They can actually mean business. But of course, this is something that Elsa and Anna do realize, so of course, they're gonna have to fight back. And pretty much to make sure that I guess the bad guys, I guess you would say, won't get what they want, like, at all whatsoever. Yeah, as mentioned what way earlier, this character, yeah, let's just say, due to the events of the other videos I did, she still grows eerie of uh, Anna and her sister. So of course she wants to actually do something later on in the story. Again, bringing this up because I've not forgotten about this character, like, at all. Because it's about build up, I suppose. You can't just throw a bunch of things at once when it comes to storytelling. Like, too much at once can be bad. But point being, yes, there's even on their side and the good guys, I guess you can say, there's still a bit of distrust, at least to some extent, I guess you can say. So yeah, which yes, ultimately can actually spell disaster. So yeah, some things may not play well if not handled immediately, I guess you would say. Even the fight scene itself, what's going on is pretty damn intense already as it is. The two sisters are fully aware of the fact that their kingdom will be, of course, in danger, and somebody has to look after it while they're away. So yeah, I gotta cover this for a brief moment here, folks, and whatnot. So I'm thinking over here, this is where Air Force comes in because this is where he could actually do something and actually amount to something in the grand scheme of things, I guess you can. Yeah, I had a bit here where I was going to show like a bit of a movie clip to illustrate what I had here, but of course YouTube got on my ass, of course. So I had to edit this part here, and you just see this. So basically, what is going to happen here is Air Force is going to have like little convoy kind of a thing, I guess, on this border to make sure the keep an eye out on Weasel Town since Weasel Town is closed, and have like a border thing between that and the kingdom of Arendelle to make sure it's safe because he's supposed to be like for protection, guns for hire kind of a thing going on here. Going on, Air Force will be right there, keep an eye out because he knows there's gonna be something going on. Obviously, not particularly a great thing that's going on because he knows it's gonna be danger. Sooner or later, something's going to happen because the Duke of Weaseltown and whatnot. So yes, while that's going on, they're still going to be fine. The two sisters, of course, want to bring down as many as they could, of course, and they're going to have to bring on down all the individuals, the troops, I guess you would say, all the bad people, every single one of them. They're going to be uh, brought down, leave no survivors, I guess you would say, because they're they're up to no good, obviously. So they're trying to fight back against these individuals, like in a defensive mode kind of a thing, I guess you would say. Yeah, in other words, it's a defensive plan, of course, because these people are going to be put up a fight, which they already knew. You have to prepare for the worst anyway when you think about it, and that's what they have to keep in mind. And of course, it's going to be in some ways it's going to be back and forth. They take some of their men out. They're going to be taking some of their people out. In some ways, it's going to be like back and forth. In some ways, they're going to try to one up each other in one way or another to keep it, I guess, unpredictable. So you're not going to know who's going to really get the upper hand here because again, you got to create some sort of suspense. Obviously, basically, what I'm getting at is that getting to the multiple point here is that this is the last defense, the last stance to be more exact. At least in the spaceship thing that they were in, it's the last defense in that. And yeah, they're losing people left and right. They're dropping like flies, I guess you can say, to make this entire thing even more stressful. I guess you can say. Again, I don't keep it excited. I'm trying to picture this as one of those action movies that people like to watch so much, but it's just like a sci-fi element to it, I guess. That's what I'm picturing it, just with what princesses and queens involved, I guess. So yeah. So the thing is that queens and the princess don't necessarily have to do this because I'm going on the idea like how in the United States presidents don't really go out and carry guns and fight in the war. Though maybe the founding fathers actually did that. Maybe the first several presidents actually done that, but not anymore in the United States. So so I'm just going to kind of base it around that in some ways to some extent, like what happened in the United States with the founding fathers, whom actually fought in battles, but later on down in history they don't anymore. But again, like I said, trying to base on that, to have some sort of realism, I guess, to some extent, I guess. Okay, so in this part of the story, let's say that yeah, now it's really for the home stretch because they don't really have a choice really, like at all. They they're the last remaining people. I guess well, yeah, the people who's on the defense in the front. Maybe a lot of them have been shot down or whatever. Have been getting killed off. Like I said, dropping like flies. And a good chunk of them, if not all, have been killed off on the front part. So there's gonna be, I guess, the other whoever's left has to take care of this, of course, because like I said, the bad people are basically putting up a damn fight. So yeah, like I said, very stressful. In the Star Wars universe, I mean, okay, this happens in Star Trek too, actually, but point being, the hyperdrive really just going in hyperspeed and out in outer space. I guess to give more of an idea of what I'm talking about. Queen Elsa and Princess Anna wanted to do that. This what you're looking at for a brief second there, for like a split nanosecond, it was right there to have the function to do that kind of a thing for that ship that they're currently on. However, they can't take their enemies with them, so they have to take care of that problem. So they have that ability. They have the function on the ship itself to carry a bunch of people, but again, their enemies all aren't there, so they have to be dealt with immediately. They're pretty much the ship itself, what I'm getting at, is ready to go. To go back to Earth. It's just about to get ready. So yeah, what in minutes, in mere minutes, I guess you can say. So in other words, the clock is ticking. To have time against them, I guess you can say. So yeah, they can't really take care of that if if they're dead. So yeah, there's a lot. Point being, like I said, gotta have some drama, gotta have some high stakes right here and whatnot. Again, like I said way earlier, folks, I'm just trying to give reasoning for the fights to happen. I'm trying to give why should any of this occur? What's okay if they fail and if they happen to fail, what will happen? Again, I'm trying to give more of a reason, more of an idea as to why any of this should even matter. Is what I'm getting at. Not just have some sort of mindless brawler, like we're saying the whole about Michael Bay or whatever, like Transformers, just mindless action and whatnot. Which for some people might have an appeal, but not for me. I always like a good story. I want a good plot. Yes, for me, plot matters. Yes, believe it or not. Anyway, aside from that, like I was saying, I guess before we move on to the next segment, of course, just gonna wrap it up here. Obviously, there's gonna be more after this part of the story anyway. But yeah, of course, they're gonna try their damnedest to stop the bad people from doing what they want to do and just take care of the problem, of course. But yeah, folks, and as you can see, they eventually will actually take them down, of course. And there you go. They finally did that part. So going for the other section of the story, I guess you can say. So yes, of course, Air Force would do his best to protect, like a soldier, I guess you can say, the borders and whatnot. Like anybody that seems fishy would not come to Arendelle like he was hired to do so, as I mentioned earlier. It's what he's supposed to do. I guess like I was saying, if he paid royally, of course, he would have lots of money in his pockets. That's for damn sure. So that's a good thing there, of course. So okay, a few months has passed from that event, and he sure had to deal with this guy since they keep bringing him up, right? So if you can't be beaten, militarized, they're going to try to take him down, financially speaking, and make him submit in some ways. Which, of course, he saw that they're trying to do a strategy, and yeah, let's just say he's pretty damn pissed. And yeah, he still feels like Elsa is up to something bad because she has these powers. And yeah, when it comes to the whole border thing I was referring to earlier, yeah, Air Force just boy, I guess you can say with the line of cars and whatnot, and the military, there's one lady still around. Like I said, she's about to amount to something. Because the thing is that Town has a bunch of factories and whatnot. Someone got to make money somehow, right? Say Air Force was ordered to do something about this and help her attack all the factories at once in one way or another. So yeah, again, you have to excuse me for having a stereo image here because I had this video up earlier, but again, YouTube got on my ass, of course. But point being, there's be a convoy of cars going into Arendelle, but they were, I guess you can say, they were suddenly ambushed by individuals whom they thought they could trust. So there's be a whole chaotic scene where, of course, Air Force has to fight them off, of course. And this is going to be like a little battle sequence kind of thing. Yep, even more action in here, folks. Going plenty of action, of course. So yeah, there was that going on. But yeah, somebody betrayed him. Yep, it was this lady. She's out for blood. She wants revenge. She's allowing her emotions to get the best of her. And this brings into my another segment of the video, I guess you can say, the last portion of it, where, as mentioned a moment ago, her military might has been split into a few different, I guess, areas because they have to attack these factories, I guess you can say. So the thing is that Elsa will of course have to do something as well, along with Anna. They can't just sit around and do shit, of course. Even though they technically have to have someone else to do it, I suppose. So yeah, there's that. And yeah, basically what's going on here is that the one lady I just showed a moment ago has teamed up with the enemy, the Duke of Weaseltown or whatever his name is. So yeah, he has an alliance here. So it's like a surprise attack. In other words, I guess you can say. So yeah, what a plot twist. So like I said, I want to know how to amount to something, not just have her just to be there. Actually, have her amount to something. I guess you can say this is in itself is a reference to what happened in one of my previous videos where I guess one of the not Kristoff but one of the other people from the I guess from the Enchanted Forest where he took care of reindeers and whatnot. So in one of the previous videos he died, and yeah, she's angry about this. So even though it was not intentional, Elsa and Anna did not do this on purpose, but he did die while fighting for them. So I guess in a sense they got blood on their hands. So the one character just saw the mom ago, the one lady is holding Queen Elsa and Princess Anna responsible for what had occurred. So obviously she's not too happy about this. Something must be done about this, of course. Yes, of course, Queen Elsa and Princess Anna are going to do their best to explain that it was not their intent. They didn't do it on purpose. And he died on line of duty for them, yes, but it was not their plan to have him killed. Yes, he was aware of the risk. He was aware of the fact that he could possibly die. Yes, of course, if you're going to be a soldier, if you're going to be some sort of fighter and whatnot, of course, you do have to keep in mind that there's that one risk that could actually happen and just flat out die. And that's what happened. He died. Point being is that, trying to have some sort of consistency with the grand scheme of story, of course, have some sort of plot element, I guess you can say. Of course, you're only human. Of course, you're going to have emotions. That's not trying to excuse anything. No. That doesn't mean you gave in to your anger. That doesn't mean you should try to murder people yourself. I'm not trying to excuse any of that, but people are people and people are flawed. And that's one way you can show that characters can be flawed. You do need to have some sort of conflict within the story. Otherwise, it's going to be boring. Again, this is supposed to be an action movie, so you gotta give a reason for the action to occur, like I keep saying over and over again. Of course, she will have some people supporting her, some of the, I guess, army individuals who are linked up with this guy. So obviously, he has to be dealt with, like, immediately while this fight is going on. So, like I said, Queen Elsa and Anna, yeah, they hired Air Force to help them out some ways. But, I mean, they don't know what he's going to do specifically and whatnot. Yeah, he does come off like a more violent individual. See, they don't know about his past too much, really, but they needed some desperate help, I guess you can say. So yeah, Air Force finds him and locates him, of course, and whatnot. So yeah, like I said, he has pretty much be dealt with, obviously, quickly, like right away. So yeah, pretty much just finish him off permanently. So like I said, he had to be dealt with some. And yeah, there's going to be this whole bit where, like, Elsa and Anna are going to be talking these several, I guess you can say, there's several factories. Like, let's say for this situation, Oreo could be Oreo gasoline, just something that's worth a lot of money, some material like that. But that has to be attacked because it's going to affect the Wizard Town. Financially speaking, I'm making as though Wizard Town is like there's like an actual big old kingdom or whatever that's very close to Arendelle, which I believe Duke of Weaseltown was close anyway in the films. So I'm going off of that. So Elsa and Anna are trying to at least hurt him financially speaking. It's going to really hurt him, of course. Even if they can't beat him military-wise, at least attack him with where it hurts financially speaking. So going on that kind of strategy here. So trying to make the characters seem smart in a lot of ways. So attack with hearts. It can be Oreo, gasoline or whatnot, but something expensive. Dealt with quickly, of course. But this could be simultaneously while Elsa and Anna are still fighting in the battlefield with the others, of course. Just because he's out doesn't mean the fight is going to instantaneously be bada bing, bada boom, to be over just like that. I guess you can say they still have to be dealt with, of course. So yeah, obviously they don't want these individuals to take over their castle, the kingdom of Arendelle, residents, the civilians, and all that. We have to be protected, of course. They have to make sure that no one's killed off, of course. But this can be like a battle kind of thing. Yes, there can be some people who will die, of course, whatnot. I mean, it doesn't have to be like extremely violent. Some violence can be allowed in a story, of course, folks. But it doesn't necessarily have to be something like really graphic or whatever. It doesn't have to be like super bloody and whatnot. Some of the violence could be implied, I guess. I guess you can say, folks, sure. But point being is that just trying to do something that could be, intense, exciting, and whatnot. And yeah, like we're saying, queens and princes don't really have to do this, but in this case, in this universe, in this version of events, maybe they do have to do it, of course. But yeah, I guess just thought I would just take care of this right now. Right now, to tell a story, these characters, because yeah. After this video, I'm gonna take a break from Disney stuff. By the way, I will return to make more Disney videos later. But after this, I'm gonna take a break. Just doing that right there, just to remind anybody who's watching. But anyway, as I was saying, yeah, have some fighting. Of course, it's gonna be like an action thriller kind of a thing going on here. Of course, I had to come up with some sort of strategy before this because I had to make sure that none of this is taken over, so they're gonna be on a defense again. I guess you would say when the villain characters arrive, obviously. So yeah, with that one woman I mentioned earlier, folks, yeah, she has to be dealt with. Yeah, of course, she can't. Yeah, you have to show that she can't get away with what she wants, of course. Well, yes, it's understandable that she can be upset that she lost somebody she cared for, losing a loved one, a friend, or whatever, a neighbor, somebody you grew a bond with, losing that person. Yes, is sad. It's understandable that you'd be upset. That's perfectly understandable. So, trying to give these characters some sort of depth, I guess you would say, some sort of deep detail with the personalities and overall story. Like I always say, plot matters to me. If there's no drama, then there's no conflict, and if there's no conflict, then there's no story, and if there's no story, then there's no reason for me to care, like at all. And that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to give reason for the conflict to exist. Trying to give reason for the fighting to actually occur throughout the entire thing, of course. But yeah, there might be a bit of a pushback, of course. Obviously, the army might be the bad guys, I guess you can say. Still be, of course, still put a bit of a fight, of course, because we can't make it too easy for the heroes. I mean, excuse me, heroines of the story. We can't make it too easy, obviously, because it would be kind of boring if it was. It could be kind of like back and forth. Each side is trying to one up each other in some sort of fashion. Of course, each side is trying to one up each other, trying to outstage each other in one way or another. I guess you can say you can still do that. To keep things interesting in one way or another because gotta make it suspenseful, gotta make it thrilling in some sort of way, of course. And of course, like before, like I just mentioned earlier with the other fight, do some sort of divide and conquer. So Queen Elsa and Princess Anna don't stick together in one space. They can go separate in separate corners or whatever. I don't know. But point being is that they're gonna be separate, of course. Even though technically, like, okay, referring to what I said earlier, folks, like a quick reminder. Well, for whoever's listening, anyway. Elsa and Anna are taking care of the factories, well, multiple factories, of course. They don't want these individuals to invade Arendelle. Is what I was trying to say. They don't want them to invade Arendelle, of course. They're like sometimes the best counter. Sometimes the best counter strike is the preemptive one, of course, I guess, because they know they will get stronger and stronger if they don't do anything about this, and that's the whole idea. They have to make sure they take care of this situation as fast as they could, and quickly and efficiently, as swiftly as they could, of course. So, yeah. There's that, obviously. So again, like I said, trying to make this interesting. Don't give a reason for this fight to happen, not just for its own sake. I don't not just just to do it, just do it. So of course we have some explosions, and some shootout, of course. Yeah, it can be kind of violent, of course. I mean, why not? Yes, of course. Before anyone says anything, yes, of course. Some people might find kind of weird that having leaders of a country or just generals or whatever. I guess you would say. I guess you say leaders of a country. I guess. Why would they be in a fight like this? Right. In this case, let's say they will all work, trying to help out the soldiers and whatnot, trying to help the army individuals on both sides, trying to fight against each other. You know, again, trying to create some sort of good sense of drama, of course. Make sure you actually care for the characters, obviously. And this was also not to repeat the same plot line repeatedly. Make sure that it could be like a sequel kind of a thing, like its own thing, and to some extent, I guess you would say, not just be repetitive and basically everything when it comes to story wise. Because I know a lot of sequels that tend to just rehash same exact thing and provide more context of what I'm referring to. Is like, okay, maybe for the good guys, for the heroes, the heroines. I mean, okay, let's just say they're on their side, their army, the military might is a bit stretched thin, maybe too much stretched thin. But I guess to kind of make up for it, they're trying to attack multiple these factories. Like I was saying, folks, and some must give them time to do more damage, I guess. Yeah, all of this would be done simultaneously, of course. A lot of this would be done simultaneously, like I was saying way earlier, because of the fact trying to hurt the individual, the Weasel Town, the place where he lives at, trying to, I guess, hurt them, money wise, because this gonna be really expensive, of course, the number of damages and whatnot. At least for them, at least for the bad people, I guess. At least trying to strike them down in that sense, in that way, and whatnot, because they'll be taught a lesson in one way or another. Because what they're doing is not agreed upon. It's not something that they're going to just let fly. Obviously, again, this all in the name of trying to create some good drama throughout the entire and whatnot. Because that's what you're supposed to do when it comes to storytelling. Give some sort of excitement, but make good drama anyway. All right, folks. Yeah, let me wrap this up because we only got a few minutes left on here. Because this video is already long enough as it is. But for any history buffs out there that's watching this, you remember what happened to Germany after World War II? They had to pay some reparations and whatnot. Let's just say that same kind of thing could apply here after all this. I guess you would say when this is all over, to hold them financially even more. Referring to the bad guys, the bad people in Weasel Town. So we're gonna add some realism to this, in some extent, I guess you would say. I mean, Disney had done it with Star Wars, and the other Star Wars movies did the same kind of thing, trying to add some sort of realism to it, I guess, based on reality, I suppose. Yeah, Disney has done that with their own movies as well, so this kind of same thing here, trying to add what happened, some true events happening in real life could be applied here as well. So, to make it seem more plausible, make it some at least to some extent, make it seem grounded, at least in some ways, I guess. I mean, it's somewhat believable, I guess, somewhat realistic, I guess. But yeah, they can say the same thing. Just trying to get their winning edge here and whatnot. I don't know. There may be some walkie-talkie kind of things going on as well with Princess Anna and Elton trying to communicate with each other somehow, I guess. I mean, okay, technically, that kind of thing kind of does exist in Star Wars universe. In walk links, if I'm pronouncing that, excuse me if I'm butchering that. The little thingamabobs they have in the helmets to communicate with each other. That's in the Star Wars. They're not really walkie-talkies, but things that they kind of use to communicate with each other. And Princess Anna and Els kind of do that since they're separated anyway. They run and conquer kind of a thing, like I said for like the third time. And yeah, of course, get pretty attempts. The last ditch attempt from the bad guy side. They're trying to stop them, of course, as every like a last stand kind of a thing. And I mean, of course, you want our main characters to win, of course, but I'm just don't make it easy for him, for nobody, I guess. Yeah, Duke of Weasel Town, yeah, he's been dealt with. So there'll be some desertion on his side with his army and whatnot because of what the efforts had done. So yeah, This gives them I guess the heroes and the heroines, I guess the good guys, some more of a winning edge, I guess you can say. It's pretty tough. Yeah, Alphonse had to do what he had to do. So war got out. The other factors, I mean, have been dealt with as well. Been taken over by one of the sisters, I guess, as well. So yeah, it started to crumble down for the bad guys, I guess. It was a bit of a harsh ride, but there you go, I guess. Yeah, like I was saying, with the whole money thing and whatnot, with the reparations, of course. Like what happened with Germany, we were saying earlier, folks. Yeah, that's going to be into play right after this, I guess. So yeah, trying to defeat him in one more way than one, I guess you can say. So there's that. So as if to prevent from this ever happening again. In other words, I suppose. So yeah, I guess that'll be it, folks. Make this end a good note kind of way, folks. So yeah, after all was said and done, of course, Wizardtown agrees to pay for reparations, of course, as a way to tie up the story. Have a conclusion so that it won't feel like it would end abruptly. So that would be just bad storytelling right there, folks. And I guess one more thing I have to bring up real quick in terms of the narrative, I guess you would say, when it comes to closing stuff off. Yeah, the one woman I keep bringing up, she would be arrested for treason, I guess you can say, of course, for due to her actions. I guess that's an attempted murder, I guess you can say, of the queen and princess, I suppose. Again, attempted. Which I guess again is high treason. I guess you would say, to be more specific here, because of her actions right here, folks. So yeah, bad on her. So alright, folks. I guess what else can I say is that yeah, I was also thinking the one Batman film called The Batman. Okay, this seems like an odd choice to bring up here, folks, but it's kind of like outside of continuity. It's his own thing, but even though it stars the same character as many Batman movies, so yeah, like there's so many animated films and shows of the character of Batman, even though a good chunk of them have their own story, they're not really connected. Maybe a few or more, but the vast majority have their own thing. They're not really connected, again, except for a select few, I suppose. So, like I was saying way earlier in the video, just trying to think of something like this, like I was talking about, I guess. And I'm trying to use this as a comparison, since a lot of people do like to talk about comic book movies anyway, since that seems to be like the hot topic of nowadays. But so yeah, I just want to use this as a way, and also make it seem kind of dark as well. This narrative I've been saying in the video, make it seem kind of gloomy, and since Batman is known for that kind of storytelling, be kind of gloomy in some way or another, I guess you can say, because why not, I guess. But not that there haven't been any dark elements in Disney's films before, so why not? And I just thought I'll just do this kind of a thing. He could have his own thing in some ways and whatnot. And I just thought he could be interesting in its own little way, I suppose, because it would be technically, if done, if done carefully, of course, if done in a skillful manner, you can make any kind of story good. I know some people might say that, okay, maybe the execution of a movie or story or whatever is more important than the premise. Yeah, which is more important, the premise or the execution? I would say both, if you ask me. But let me see. I'm just trying to think of a split second here. I guess another example, I guess a more decent example would probably be, maybe I should compare it to something that's more related to this kind of a thing, and that's just once in a pleasant time, which yes, I did spoken about before. And while it does act like a sequel to the first movie, but it's not canon to anything else really. Not the shorts or the Frozen 2 or any of the books. It kind of tells its own thing, kind of like a what if kind of thing, I guess. So I guess I'm kind of doing the same thing in my regard. That's how I took this anyway. But yeah, I'm kind of doing my own thing, my own what if, I guess you can say, if that's a good way to say it, I guess. Yeah, it still stars the same characters and the sisters, Olaf, Kristoff, and all that. I still have those characters involved in one way or another. I guess, I suppose you can say. So I just figured, with that in mind, I can do my own kind of thing here, I guess. because I guess it could be as a way to tell a creative story. I guess even though it might seem over the top to some people, I guess, but again, from basing reality in some ways, I guess, to make it seem plausible, kind of, I guess, or whatever, at least to some extent, I suppose. Even though having crossover like this just might seem like absurd to some people, having a crossover like this, I suppose. Which, yes, it sounds like impossible to have a crossover like this, which I guess you could say it is. But I can't blame you for trying to be creative here, I suppose, in a way or another. Well, at least it's not a remake. I guess it's not a remake, and we all know I just hate remakes. Regardless of genre, I just hate all remakes. Ugh. Anyway, again, yes, while this seems like a big stretch to have this crossover kind of thing, yes, I know. Just let me have this one, really. I mean, really. All right, let me just finish here already. This went much longer than it should have been. I guess you want to say. Oh boy, but again, yes, thanks for anybody for watching. I really do appreciate it. And again, really stating this for anyone who's watching, I guess. Yeah, after this, okay, I mentioned this for the third time in this video. I'm going to take a break from Disney for a little while. Yes, I will return to it. It's not that I have a lack of material for this series of videos. So I have plenty. Oh boy, fuck. I have plenty. If anything, I have the exact opposite. Maybe too much. It's not too little. I don't have too little, that's for sure. I'm not liking it's just a lot. I mean, I do mean a lot. So when I take a break, then I will return to it, folks. No worry. Well, again, I do appreciate people liking this and watching this and whatnot. So yeah, I guess let them win, of course. So there you go. So I appreciate the view, folks. So thanks for watching, and until next time, see ya. Oh yeah, later.